After a move for Bristol City defender Zach Viner fell through a couple of hours ago, Phil Parkinson set his sights on bringing in Blackburn Rovers defender Dom Hyam on a deal worth up to £2.7 million, and within hours that deal has been sealed. Wrexham have confirmed the signing of the 29-year-old centre-back, and Hyam becomes our third centre-back signing of the summer transfer window, and it's one I'm very, very happy about. Phil Parkinson obviously had a list of centre-backs he wanted to bring in. Whether Hyam was high up on that list or not, we really don't know. It looks as if Viner was ahead of him in that target list, but that wasn't to be. We want players that are coming into Wrexham that, want to be here. Blackburn were happy to see a fee of around £3 million be accepted for him, and I think they've massively underpriced him and they're letting him go for quite a cheapish fee, because we'll get talking about it later on. I think we've got a real gem on the cards. Before we get going into today's deadline day video, if you're looking for the best Wrexham content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. It's been a very hectic day. There's been plenty of content coming your way, plenty of departures, plenty of signings, of course, being confirmed. It's a hectic 24 hours like it has been in the whole history of football, so make sure to drop a like as well. Let's go for 450 likes for the signing of Dom Hyam, and let's take a look at how he got here today. So Hyam did actually come through the academy at now League One side Reading, where he signed his first professional contract in 2013, but surprisingly, like Issa Kabor, our new latest signing, he never actually made a first team appearance for Reading. He had loan spells at Hemel Hempstead Town, Basingstoke, Dagenham and Redbridge, Portsmouth and Aldershot Town, all to introduce himself to men's football and get a real taste of, professional football, playing up against, older players in that age category, and he definitely got that. He only made 38 appearances though across the way for those teams that he did go out on loan at, but it was enough for League Two side at the time, Coventry City, to come in and snatch him up from Reading. And what a decision it turned out to be for both Coventry City and Dom Hyam, because it was a very successful spell. In the 5 years that Hyam was at the Sky Blues, he gained 2 promotions from League 2 to League 1 and League 1 to the Championship, and made close to 200 appearances for the club, and won one Player of the Year after making a really impactful season and just overall making a really impactful impact at his time at Coventry City. After that successful spell at Coventry, 2 promotions under his belt, a lot of experience gained in the men's game, a 5-year stint, he then departed in 2022 for fellow Championship side Blackburn Rovers, where he's also made a long-lasting impact at them, of course having multiple successful seasons at the club. He's only been there for 3 seasons, but has already had gained 135 appearances for them. Hyam didn't actually miss a game last season in the 24-25 campaign, as Blackburn Rovers finished just one place outside of the Championship playoffs. I think they missed out on the final day, but Hyam played every single game and started every single game in that near playoff triumph. So we're getting a consistent performer week in, week out for obviously his time at Coventry City, his time at Blackburn Rovers, and we're talking on impacts now. We want players that are going to come into Wrexham and have an impact straight away, and Hyam had that at Coventry City, and looking further at his impact at Blackburn Rovers in his first season at the club, he made a really good one by winning Player of the Year and Players Player of the Year again, as Blackburn finished just one place outside of the Championship playoffs. It looks like we're signing a very consistent defender that will perform for you week in, week out, that will just be that brick wall at the back. And to be honest, with our first season in the Championship back for 40 odd years, I can only see signings like this being a huge bonus to the squad, and signings that we can't get enough of in this ever-growing Wrexham squad. So if we're looking at what to expect, of course it's written on paper. We're bringing in an experienced, although only 29 years old, he's got nearly 400 appearances to his name, an experienced and consistent performer at this level, which is something, like I said previously, that will never turn down at Wrexham. With it being our first season back in the Championship, with a squad that most of the players before going into this season hadn't had that Championship experience before, bringing these type of names in that have got that Championship experience under their belt, that are proven at this level, is only going to be a big bonus for us going into this campaign. And it's a signing and a defender that only adds further quality at this level and provides even more competition to not only the squad but obviously the back line at Wrexham, which I think is definitely needed in a very competitive league like the Championship. And it also provides depth, again, like I've just said, which we need in the Championship. With it being a very competitive league, you need a quality packed squad where you're going to have 2 or 3 players in every position that are Championship quality, that players are going to knock on the door in the training sessions every single day that they're playing, that are going to want to be in that starting 11. And I can see Dom Hyam coming into this Wrexham squad and really pushing to be that number 1 centre-back, obviously in the first game that we do play after the international break. So I think we've done really well to get a defender of his quality and calibre in, obviously for the price tag reported of around £2.7 million for a 29-year-old defender that has got so much experience at this level already, is a serial winner, wherever he's been at Coventry City. He's had multiple different seasons at Blackburn where they've come so close to success. I can only see this being a very good bit of business by Phil Parkinson. And looking personally at Hyam as a defender, I think, we're going to get another leader added to the squad. Although he wasn't the captain at Blackburn Rovers at his time at the club, he is still going to be a leader. He's a centre-back, obviously 29 years old, multiple different seasons played at this level, and I think his experience and his leadership is going to be so vital and so good, alongside what we talked similar about to Colin Cody. He's going to bring into this squad a whole wealth of experience and obviously leadership, which is good for the likes of Max Cleworth, Lewis Brunt, who is still relatively young in terms of their football career and haven't played at this level before. So bringing the players like Conor Cody into the side, and now Dom Hyam, I think is going to be really good for them and is going to be a really good mentor, of course, for those young players in the matchday squad. And I think overall the team will just benefit from these improved quality players into the squad from last season, who are going to get the best out of them week in, week out, and are just going to raise the quality not only in the matches but in the training sessions week in, week out. They're going to raise the bar from here to here, and again, it's only going to be a good thing adding these players to the squad. And when times are tough, we're looking at Hyam as a defender. We need players that are going to step up and lead by example, and Hyam is definitely going to be one of those players in this Wrexham team. We're going to lose games this season. We're going to have tough times where we might not win for 3 or 4 games, but we need those players to come out and lead by example for this Wrexham team, motivate the whole squad, and Hyam is definitely going to be one of those players. And having read the manager's opinions online when he did sign that contract in the summer of 2025, just a couple of months ago, they triggered an extension in his contract to keep him for the club. So he was obviously a player that they wanted to keep on the cards, and saw a player that would obviously bring them that success and bring them to that one step further of finishing inside the Championship playoffs for the upcoming campaign. But Wrexham have snatched him off their books, and having read the manager's thoughts on Dom Hyam as a defender, he said he's solid, reliable under pressure, strong in duels and vocal on the pitch. And having a look at his stats from last season in the Championship, they definitely back it up. 28 tackles won, 245 duels won, 178 of those were being in the air, and 130 ball recoveries. So he's definitely an active defender when it comes to playing matches. He's always stuck in, and he's always, in the thick of the action playing for Blackburn Rovers, and has been ever since, he started his professional career at Coventry City. He's always been in there. He's been a key player for whichever side he's been at. Of course, Coventry City, he's a serial winner there, played a massive role in their rise up the leagues. And Blackburn Rovers, they've had 2 seasons when he was there when they finished just 1 place outside the playoffs. So there's clearly something about Dom Hyam that is a very good centre-back, and defence is probably one of the most important parts of obviously a squad that's playing, and obviously a key part to success. So if he's had those multiple successful seasons at this level, I think he's going to bring that into the Wrexham team, and I think he's going to be such a good addition. And if we're also looking at the thoughts of a Blackburn Rovers journalist, I think his name was Elliot Jackson, I might have got that wrong, but he's also described him as very underrated and the glue that holds the backline together, which I think just even further emphasises his consistency and leadership as a player, which is going to be such a big addition to this Wrexham squad. And if we're comparing possibly Zach Viner to Dom Hyam, what could we have got in Dom Hyam that we didn't get in Zach Viner? I think definitely the success that Dom Hyam has had compared to Zach Viner. Of course, Zach Viner's been at Bristol City before. He's had good seasons. I think he's finished inside the playoffs once in his season at Bristol City. But if we're looking at Dom Hyam, he's only that 1 year older, but he's won 1 league title, 1 automatic promotion, and has been so close to finishing in the playoffs. So of course you're going to think, oh, I'm just saying this because we signed him, but in more logical sense, I do think Hyam does make more sense, because again, it's a leader at the back. Obviously Zach Viner would have been a good addition, but if we're looking at consistency as a player compared to what both fans are saying about both players, I think Dom Hyam is definitely favoured more by the Wrexham fans. As well, I think something that's really important in terms of signings, and a lot of people have noted it out when we did sign Ben Sheaf earlier on today, he's had injuries here and there over the past couple of seasons for Coventry. But if we're looking at Dom Hyam, he's a player that is going to be playing 40 plus games for us throughout a season. Touch wood, I've not jinxed that, but if we're looking at his stats from previous seasons, he's consistently played 40 plus games. His availability to teams is second to none and has been all throughout his career, and is very rarely injured, which again is something we massively need this season, because we've seen in just the short amount of games that we have played, we've suffered a couple of injuries, and let's hope that doesn't change when he does sign for Wrexham, and when he has signed for Wrexham. So yeah, I think that's something we're going to benefit off this season season, of course, defence is a massive part in success this season for Wrexham, so we want our defenders being available every single week, and I think Hyam is definitely going to be available for that. So we've brought in a really good player in Dom Hyam, and I think a player that is going to really propel the quality and sort of the training levels, the match levels, the intensity in the Wrexham team really, really well. It's a signing we needed, definitely. I think we definitely did need another centre-back through the door. There was obviously going to be a long list of players, and why Phil Parkinson waited until deadline day to get that through the door, I really don't know. Maybe it's because we might have got him for a cheaper fee. They might have ramped up the price if we'd have gone for him a couple of weeks earlier, but better late than never. It always happens on deadline day. You cannot complain about a really good late deadline day signing him, poaching him off another club, of course, after having a good start to the season. I think he's played 4 championship games for Blackburn so far, so bringing a player off their books to Wrexham, I think just shows the statement that Wrexham have proven to the championship and sort of the ambition that we do have going into this season, because we've seen the signings of Ben Sheaf, we've obviously getting Kabore in, and now we've got Dom Hyam in. 3 deadline day signings that are hopefully going to go down as a massive success this season, and 3 deadline day signings that, in my opinion, for a newly promoted side, don't get much better than that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below on the signing of Dom Hyam. Do you think we needed another centre-back? I think a lot of you will be saying yes. Of course, he's 29 years old, so he's still relatively young, but also boasts a wealth of experience and quality at this level. Previously in the seasons that he has played for Coventry and Blackburn Rovers, I'm really, really happy with this. I'm really happy with the business that we have done on deadline day, of course, bringing 3 players in. The likes of George Evans have gone, he's gone to Burton Albion. We've also seen Jacob Mendy and Tom O'Connor make the double switch on loan to Peterborough United for the remaining season. So yeah, there's a lot going on. We were expecting a lot of players to leave and a lot of players to come in, but it's business that needed to be done, and I'm glad Phil Parkinson is being ruthless because, you know, it needed to be done. We obviously have a long list of players going into that squad that we need to submit, of course, in the next coming days. So having these players into the club and adding that further quality going into this season is really, really vital, and they're signings, like I've just said, that I'm really, really happy about. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like and make sure to subscribe as well if you're new to the channel. Do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in another video. Take care, guys. Up the filthy rich Reds, I think is definitely needed at the end of that video.